Welcome to the Mr. Robot panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2016. It's just me, Chris Hardwick, not very exciting. I almost died. Well, I don't know how they act in the masks. Welcome to Mr. Robot. This is very exciting. This is the first year that they're all here. Season 2 is now underway. I'm sure you guys, I assume everyone came for the Mr. Robot panel and you're not squatting for some later thing. It's going to be good. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. We're going to have special, we're going to show a clip from next week's show. We're going to talk about a lot of things. There's going to be surprises. How many people have been on board with Mr. Robot since the beginning, since the first episode? Yeah. Me too. And it's one of those shows that it's, rarely a show comes along, and it's sort of like the first time you saw Breaking Bad. Within the first 30 seconds, you were like, I'm in. Whatever the show is, I'm in. And I start decrypting everything in the show. I'm like, it's produced by anonymous content, like Anonymous, and the creator's name is Sam Esmail? That's not a real guy. That's an anagram for mass email. Like, I really thought that was. But he's a real guy, it turns out. He's a real guy and walks around and breathes and stuff. So, we're going to get everyone out here. If you're going to tag everything, please make it Mr. Robot SDCC. Within one season, now starting the second season, 6 Emmy nominations for this show. Including Best Drama, Best Actor, Composer, Writer, Casting. It's an incredible, incredible accomplishment that they've done, and obviously, I think next year I can see the show being moved over into Hall H. I'm sure that will happen. So I'm going to shut up now and bring out, well, I have to keep talking to introduce the cast, but I'm going to stop talking, just me to you. So let's meet our cast, starting out as Darlene Carly Chaikin! Welcome.
Whoa.
Mr. Robot, Christian Slater.
Oh, I'm all tingly.
Elliot Alderson, Rami Malek.
Yeah, bitch. Wrong show, right?
Wrong show, yeah. You mentioned that.
Are we not
Woo! Angela Moss, Portia Doubleday. And new for season 2 as Dom, Grace Gummer.
Look at this.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Your 2016 Mr. Robot lineup. Woo!
Oh, wow. Just a few people.
Love you too. Very much.
Who loves me?
Welcome to your first official Comic-Con as the Mr. Robot cast. Is this your first Comic-Con period? Is this your first time?
Yeah. I've been so excited to come here and see it, and this is so cool that all you guys are here.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cheers to you guys.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's start kind of, I know that an episode aired last night. A lot of people probably didn't get to see it, so we won't really spoil anything about last night. You're welcome. And also, if you're tweeting, don't spoil anything to anyone else in the world. This is just for us, and this is special, so let's be nice. We'll talk kind of generally about season 1 overall themes for a few minutes, and then we'll open it up, and we'll have like a half hour of questions for everyone. So let's just kind of talk about, I'll start with Christian. Christian, how would you describe this show to someone if they'd never seen it? How do you describe the show?
Wow. That's the toughest question.
It's always the hardest question.
Yeah. Oh, God. Wow, what do I say? It's about a small group of hackers looking to wipe out debt from society. That's what I say.
That's what you see.
That's it. Just wipe debt. Get rid of it.
How would you
Two
describe
guys who cook meth in Albuquerque.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Did you say 2 guys cooking meth?
Yeah.
Did you say 2? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good. Carly, what do you think? What do you think is kind of the reason behind why the show's so powerful right now?
Because it's so good. No, I think that, ooh, echo.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age, everyone's looking for something honest, and the show is incredibly honest and talks about things we're all thinking but don't say, or that we haven't heard on a public platform before. You know, and we're all so imperfect, and I think people can relate to that, and all we see are these TV images of humans and them having this TV experience. And, you know, I think we're all really having human experiences and dealing with a lot of emotions, and, you know, we never successfully do a hack to begin with. We always fail and have to figure out another way. You know, and there's no, like Sam always talks about, he's like, no one in real life would show up to someone's office and like profess their love. And you know how most shows do, and so I think everything is really true to human nature, and just to, you know, I think everyone can relate to it in some form or another, and it's also just really beautiful and a compelling story, and all of my fellow castmates are incredible actors, so it makes it very easy to watch.
Well, it does. I think there is something about the show, unlike any other show on television, that sort of captures this kind of cultural zeitgeist of dissatisfaction. Everyone's dissatisfied and everyone's freaking out, and it feels like, Rami, would you agree the show's it's kind of about control? It's about Elliot trying to control himself and then society trying to control everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially this season, we really delve into that in season 2. But yeah, I mean, what we started out with was control. How can we really affect the world we live in? I mean, is technology, you know, is it an asset or is it controlling us in a way? We're controlled by money. We're slaves to debt, as he says. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody has, you know, this accruing debt that we owe. You know, we've just hit every aspect of how, you know, the top 1%, are just, you know, rule the world we live in. And what's fascinating about the show is you have, you know, like you said, these alienated, disenfranchised characters that everyone can relate to, who are trying to change the world they live in or trying to change their own world. And, you know, that question of can they comes up quite a lot.
Well, why does it, at the beginning of season 2, why does it seem like no one's happy with what happened? This is this thing that they wanted to accomplish. They did it, they pulled it off, and now everyone's miserable.
Right. It's real. I mean, and Sam Esmail, who's the brilliant mind of Sam Esmail has come Mr. Robot. You know, he wanted to make something that was pure and authentic and real. And when he talked about, you know, an event like this, it wasn't all going, you know, to be magical the next day. Things weren't going to, you know, magically work out for everyone's favor. You know, he had that scene in the first season where Darlene lets the dogs out of the pound, and it's like, who is going to take care of them? You know, they may be free, but who's going to feed those dogs? You know?
Yeah.
That sounds funny, I guess, but you know, that's the thing. We deal with this aftermath, this fallout, and you know, Sam's big thing is he's looked at a lot of situations in the world where a small group of people have gone against you know, the norm and done something that has, you know, changed a government or you know, changed the way people live all over the world. And he looks at, you know, the effects of that and sees like there are vacuums that are left after this. So I think the big question that he's asking is how can each and every one of us go outside of ourselves to do something special and actually have it have a lasting effect that benefits all of us.
But it does kind of seem like the whole message so far is that it's all pointless. I mean, even...
maybe it is all
pointless. Well, even Joey Badass's character... When Joey Badass's character is talking about Seinfeld and how he doesn't get it, it's just about nothing, and it's just sort of, which is an amazing moment in the show, it really is kind of saying like, well, everything's all pointless in a way.
Kinda.
I think
I
Portia's,
remember during that, I just got up and walked out, and I said, "Yeah, what are we doing?"
You're right. Let's shut down Mr. Robot. What's the point, right?
Yeah, exactly. What's the point of anything? Portia, Angela's character has had such an incredible arc since the first season of kind of, it seems like she came from this place of just sort of letting people kind of walk on her, and then at a certain point, she was done.
Yeah.
And she's really changed and become such a, just that moment when she said to that girl, "Get out of my fucking cubicle." Like, that is such a
Yeah.
different Angela from the first season. So what do you think is responsible for that, and how have you felt her evolve?
I think Prada shoes really changed her life. I think after that moment, she took life a lot more serious. No, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've never been on a TV show, and I would have to say the coolest thing about it is that you continuously grow with your characters, but it's actually very challenging because even this season, there are so many moments where, because we were block shooting, which was tough. I would, shoot a scene from episode 5 and then shoot a scene from episode 8 right after that. And so it's kind of hard to track where your character was in those moments. And you find so much out while you're shooting. Sam told me what my arc would be, but while you're actually doing it and finding those moments, and that's when you really start to see, oh, wow, there's so many differences. My relationships are so different this season with everyone. But yeah, the addition of these positive affirmations, I think that I have become a lot more positive myself. Feel very attractive and pretty today. Hey.
But is Angela, because there's sort of, it seems like they're sort of teasing, like, is Angela selling out, and what does that mean? I mean, this company that she feels responsible for so much tragedy in her life, now she's a piece of it under the kind of maybe false assumption that she could change everything, but it doesn't seem like she wants to change everything.
Well, that's what's really interesting about this character, and I think, the characters on this show is how layered and how realistic it is. Like, I would ask the audience, if you were in a position where someone said, hey, this lawsuit is not going to make a difference, and if you actually want to make a change, when Terry Colby says, I believe that you can. If you actually want to make these changes, you have to work from within. Like, would you work there? And I think that I would. So that's what's really compelling is that, if you just take the scene with the Prada shoes and you isolate that moment, you go, oh man, this girl's a bad word. But if you see the progression prior to that, well, it says, please be aware that many members of your audience may be under
Oh, I accidentally already violated that. But I feel like if you watch the show, that's why it's like on Walking Dead too, where people are like, don't say the F-bomb. Like, you just saw someone's brain splatter out of their head. Language is not the problem. So yes, we should probably not do what Chris Hardwick did, and please don't, I'm sorry. But yeah, so it is that kind of constant struggle with everything's kind of gray. Nothing's really that black or white.
Yeah, I mean, it's realistic. It's like people are not one thing. There's that moment in the first season with Terry Colby where he completely demoralizes her, and then the next scene you see him feel guilt and shame. And I think that was such a huge moment. When I came home, I just thought, wow, what a beautiful way to show something evil. It's never one thing, And I had this moment where I thought, I wonder if he was in Angela's position at his age and then slowly was kind of compromised by the system. And so I think that she's just in this weird place of, wanting to be productive in this environment and honestly using this form of control, like this brainwash, to be able to, survive this dangerous place with Price and kind of subdue her emotions of, guilt for working there. And also, seeing somebody kill themselves on live television and then, having 30 days later, what are the repercussions of that, I was interested to know what she was why she's doing the affirmations in the first place. Like, what's her need for needing to do them?
What do you think it is?
I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell.
Okay, fine. You know the same way.
I want to know.
You should know.
Yeah, there are nice characters, and again, not to spoil anything, but nice characters don't do well in these types of universes. When someone's just pure and all one thing, they really do meet horrible fates, which I won't spoil if you're not super caught up. But I want to... What? What do you mean? Do you want me to just say?
Know? Should we just tell them?
I wasn't gonna say anything. It's so
don't
funny
even
how
know
I
what-
didn't
I don't
say
even
anything
know
and you
what-
go, don't say anything. Now I want to say it. Like a second ago, we were all on the same page, but now I'm like, oh, now they're asking
They're
for it.
turning
Now I
against us.
gotta do it. But I want to ask Grace about Dom and what it was like coming on and this season and kind of what, since we don't know a ton about her yet, how do you see her fitting into everything?
Well, definitely with Dom, what you see at first is not what you're gonna get. So she's a very, like everybody else, very complicated, layered weirdo. And I think she uses her work to cover up her own issues that she deals with. I see her as a sort of a bright light in a dark world. She's trying to find the people who turn the lights out. She loves her job. She's good at what she does. She has an instinct about who did it and why they did it, and she'll sort of stop at nothing to find that out.
She is such an awesome character, you guys. I cannot wait for you to see.
Yeah, I'm
Pretty cool.
excited.
I think we should just start asking questions now. This will give us a good half hour to answer some fan questions that you might have. So please step forward up to are there microphones on the side? Oh, yeah, there's a microphone in the middle. So the answer is no, it's in the middle. Hello, what is your name and what is your question, sir? Yes.
Hello.
It's not working yet.
It
Yes,
is.
it
It's
is.
working. Yeah,
Oh, it is
yeah, it's
working.
good.
Okay. So with technology being what it is, who on the cast plays Pokemon Go? and what team are you in? What team? Team Mystic.
He's got it now.
Yeah, Team Mystic, all the way, man.
For the cast. What team are you?
No, sit down with that Team Instinct. You guys are the Hufflepuffs of Pokemon, all right? Just sit down with that.
I'm just going to say, from a Mr. Robot standpoint, do you guys know what access you're handing over when you sign up for that game?
Yeah, it's awesome.
You don't care?
I love it. They can have all my information. I just want a Bulbasaur. I
Yep.
don't care. They can have all my
of your
money
information.
and my social security number.
And your GPS.
Yeah, they can have my GPS. I don't
Yep.
care. They can find me. They can bring me a Charmander. I don't care. They can find me wherever I am. Who's catching who, guys? Think about it. So was that your question?
That was it.
Okay.
Great question.
Voice.
Great question.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have time. We have tons of time. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Katie. I just want to say that in a summer of remakes, reboots, redos, there are no fresh perspectives, fresh stories, and you guys give it to us.
Oh,
Thank you. Especially for those of us trying to come of age in this inferno. So thank
Mr.
you.
Robot's actually based on this graphic. No, I'm sorry.
It's based on a play.
But my question is, I really loved seeing Angela and Darlene doing ballet last season.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like that's such a great part of the show that gives us glimmers where we see like, oh, the answer is just do art, just dance, just listen to music. I was just wondering if we're going to get to see any more glimmers like that in the season.
Did you guys do ballet
There definitely
again?
will be some dance moves this season.
You know
There
what's
won't.
funny is people ask us questions. We've been block shooting that I feel like I don't even know what we did this season.
I know. I'm trying to think back too.
We shot the entire. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's it. That's all.
We shot the entire season like a movie, so we could be shooting any episode from all 10 or 12, how many we did at any given day. So in one day, I mean, you could be shooting scenes from 5 different episodes. So it's really difficult to keep track of.
So
Yeah. So I'm like,
you all
doesn't
know at
happen?
the beginning of the season, you all know everything that's going to happen throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has it been a new experience for you working on this show of just the veil of secrecy now, the responsibility that you have not to leak stuff?
Well, I had to deal with this last year
Yeah.
of keeping a big secret. Which I should deserve applause for keeping that secret.
That was a good
Just kidding.
secret. That was a good secret.
That was a very hard one to keep in. But now I feel like we're in the CIA and like know the secret codes to something. But it makes it so much more fun not, being able to watch people get excited when they, as they find things out. And it is very hard to keep it all in because it's so good and I just want everyone to know it.
Yeah.
But
Security protocols have definitely increased,
Yeah.
though, right? No, it's really gotten.
Be kind of messed up if Sam's email got hacked and everything got leaked.
Oh man,
That'd
so
be bad.
unfortunate.
A lot of it's not on email.
Ah, interesting. But it's one of those shows where there's not just a linear spoiler and that's it. Like anything you find out opens up like 100 more questions.
True.
Yep.
Definitely.
We get scripts, and they show up in your email for about an hour. You have to learn your lines in under an hour, and then they just disappear.
You never see it again.
That's it. Yeah.
What is your name, sir, in question?
My name is Richard, and I've got a question for Rami. You've done some very family-friendly things, such as The Legend of Korra and the Night at the Museum trilogy. How do you go about approaching such a big change, going from the family-friendly to a heavy drama like Mr. Robot? And which do you prefer better, voiceover versus live action, family versus drama?
Multi-layered question. Well, Elliot's just like any kid next door, isn't he? He's very family-friendly.
My son. Yeah.
Who wouldn't want their daughter dating Elliot?
Yeah, she gets a couple of people for the price of one.
What a part.
I'm an Elliot by day and a Mr. Robot by night. Elliot in the streets, Mr. Robot in the sheets.
Yeah. Very good.
Oh, man. Too good.
Yeah, too good. It doesn't compare. This is the greatest role I've ever gotten to play. I think any actor who would land someone like Elliot would be over the moon. And every day, it's just, what am I going to do next? I flip out when I read these scripts. I kind of shit my pants at times, and then I'm like, yeah, you do too.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There we go.
Next question.
Wow.
Nice cool outfit.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's incredibly uncomfortable.
How many times do you hear that at Comic-Con? People say it's really uncomfortable all day long. But you look amazing.
It's hot.
What is your question?
Okay, so first off, you guys are my idols. You really inspire me, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I have one terrible burning question. Rami, can you properly teach me how to walk like an Egyptian?
Oh,
I'm
man.
kidding. My real question is, you guys have done so many different media outlets and what you do. Which is your favorite? Do you prefer shooting video games or TV shows or movies?
Ooh.
Personally?
Yes.
I don't know. Each.
Crazy cool voices. And
Yeah, man. I love doing Archer. Doing that is. That show is Adam Reed, and getting to be that character is a blast. So I love it. I don't know. Each thing that I think each of us shows up for to do, we just love what we get the opportunity to do here, and are incredibly grateful for it. If it's theater or TV or film, we just dive in 100%. I mean, I feel very fortunate to work with people that are as passionate about it as I am, I think.
And it's cool because each one of them is so different. I would love to.
I love The Bachelor, Bachelorette.
We have great conversations about The Bachelorette.
Oh, yeah. We have major debates.
Yeah.
She better choose Luke. So,
Are you guys the Bachelorette type crowd? Yeah.
Yeah, Bachelorette takes over Hall H. No, it doesn't. It does not.
Could you imagine?
My question's for The Bachelor. It'd be a whole different type of person. My question's for The Bachelor. Where you get those roses? Where can I get that?
There's this girl I met at Comic-Con. I'm really falling in love with her. I think she's really into roses, probably. Okay.
There is another part of the show that I'd love to talk about right before we get to the next question, which is the soundtrack. The soundtrack, the music. The music in the show is so powerful, and you know,
Stand up, Mac. That's our composer, Mac Quill, everybody.
Matt.
Who just got nominated for an Emmy?
Also nominated for an Emmy.
Yes, he was.
And besides the amazing music that's created for the show, also the songs that are chosen to, you know, the piano version of the Pixies song last season, or introducing millennials to Phil Collins this year was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm 23. I don't know, but how has music for you guys helped kind of inform the story? And do you work with it? Do you understand what's going to get put into each episode?
Angela likes Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, not many. That's it. That's it. Oh,
Sorry. There was one scene I did where before Sam played me what song was going to go to it. And so, which was really cool because he was like, when you're walking up and you're doing this is the music that's going to be happening to it. And so I was kind of able to do it almost to the music and to what vibe that was. But it's unbelievable what a huge difference music makes, even in the way where you don't even notice it. But if you watched something without any music, you would, even our show, you'd probably be like, okay. Like, music is such a huge aspect of film and television. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, with somebody like Matt, it's incredible. I mean, the work is just phenomenal and inspirational. And we actually got to do a live read of the graveyard scene, and Mac did the music while we were doing it. And
live.
It was live, and just that whole experience
really
was
cool.
pretty remarkable. Yeah, it was great.
Yes. What is your name and what is your question?
Yeah, hi, I'm Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey.
In the show, you always have seen this cool technology or hacking techniques that you perform in the show for different heists and whatever. In this season, is there any heist or any hacking technique or other thing that you like to do as an actor during the show?
Wow.
I mean, that you like performing?
A hack?
Hacking or
There's
any technology handling that you did, or
we shot a really cool hacking scene in a couple episodes, maybe in a couple.
Which one?
There's I don't want to give too much away, but the way he shot it, I think it's one really long take, and I asked Sam to show it to me one day, and it was pretty mesmerizing. So there's some really cool hacking coming up, and I think some of you guys will really
Just love
enjoy.
also the attention to detail that, I mean, they put so much work into giving us the actual stuff to work with when we're doing the scene. It's not like we're working with a green screen or anything like that. I mean,
It's all practical.
It's all practical and it's all there. And when we're typing, it's actually happening. And the things that we do are actually possible, which is good and scary at the same time.
You really pushed him off a dock last season.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
You did.
Yeah. I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, to go back, a great song coming up next week as well to add to our sound design, something that I think Sam had a hard time getting because of rights, but another great song to add to the collection. And I wanted to say, he goes, I think we're going to open up the pilot with this Neil Diamond song. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, just listen to it and tell me what you think. And now it's like, I can't live without that song.
Yeah, it's the greatest. Yeah.
He's just he has a talent for finding songs that would be very unexpected, but just lift the moment to really special places.
Hey, is that a Mr. Robot jacket?
It is a Mr.
You look fantastic.
Very
That
nice.
is
You
well
look great.
done.
It's very
Dad?
It's comfortable, yeah.
Hey, we look more like.
I'm everywhere. It's crazy. Yeah, this poor guy.
fan of all of you. You too, Chris. I've seen you live twice, and you're fantastic always. But,
Thanks.
My question is mostly for Christian and Rami. How do you guys not only play out that strange dynamic, but somewhere between abuser and victim and father and son, and not only how do you play that out and separate in your own lives, but how do you relate and sympathize to the character still after it's gotten to dark points?
I get to work with Christian, who is, just an incredible professional who's done, the movies he's done are iconic. And when, I know when I do a scene with him that's physical or aggressive, there are some actors who just don't know how to do that well, and they really hurt you. Young actors just can go for it. They're like, I'm going for it. I'm going all in. And I'm like, no, you're putting someone in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he just, he knows how to make something look as, rough and real as possible. And it's, doesn't.
We both can walk away, safe and
Not
happy.
bruised.
Yeah, nobody's in traction, so it's great.
Or he'll wait on the right take where he knows, the camera is picking it up in a way, and we can push on that level. But what I love about working with him every day is, and I'm talking about you like you're not here. What I love about
He's not.
He's not here.
He just
There's only 4 people on the
that
panel.
Good. Yeah, I'm not.
Every once in a while, there's a weird moment of silence, and then.
What I love about working with you every day is he surprises me with moment to moment, and we don't often rehearse things, so there some of our best takes are the first takes because he's just brilliant and will shock me with what he's gonna do. My turn. No. Next question, please.
Well, but kind of branching off that, this idea of a victim and who's the abuser and who's the victim is, because their relationship has even changed. It almost feels like it kind of almost changes week to week. So what do you think is the dynamic between them? And is Mr. Robot bad or not bad, or is it gray, or how do you guys see their relationship?
Definitely gray, right? Certainly. Yeah, it was interesting after doing episode 9 of season 1. Sam was still writing the scripts week to week, so I was given the script and the reveal happened, and I was kind of like, well, now what? Where are we going to go, and what's going to happen with this character and this relationship? And so I had all those questions, and then got the opportunity for episode 10 and doing that scene in Times Square and saying that great speech that Sam had written was very exciting. It was a great speech, right?
Great.
He just wrote that so beautifully. And
Christian actually went to Times Square days before and just kind of ran the speech.
Yeah, I just had a Bluetooth in my ear, and people just thought I was some other schmuck talking to somebody on the phone, but I was just rehearsing
they were like,
the line.
Christian Slater's gone insane.
Yeah, totally.
Hashtag.
But then, season 2 and the continuing relationship, I was curious where Sam was going to take it and what was going to happen. But once he breaks the storyline for the season, he calls each of us and talks to us for like an hour and a half and gives us the whole overview of where things are going to go and what things are going to happen. And I had many visceral reactions to the things that he was telling me.
I had diarrhea.
Yeah. So it was definitely a roller coaster ride of emotions. So I'm excited for people to see how it unfolds and where it's going to go. Like initially, Mr. Robot is I think an idealized version of something that Elliot has manifested. Somebody he would have liked his father to have been, a leader, and somebody very mysterious and powerful and sort of guiding him. And I think in season 2, he's trying to deal with that and place these restrictions. And every time a boundary or a wall is put up in front of me that keeps us sort of away from focusing on what our goal is and what I want to achieve, it really pisses me off.
What is your name and what is your question?
My name is Alfredo. It's just a general question for the cast. Something regarding season 1 where Elliot's relationships, I think, are very important for him. And as an individual, I empathize kind of with him. I feel like he's a fractured kind of person. He tries to struggle for control. And I think through Shayla, he really finds kind of his center in all the chaos. And when she was ripped away from him, I actually had to take a break from watching the show for a while.
Wow.
Wondering, does he ever find closure either through revenge or through peace by himself? And is he ever, do you think, will he ever be whole again?
You know, the way that's amazing that it affected you like that. And I think, you know, from...
And apologies.
Yeah. Steve.
Sorry for destroying your year.
This year's already destroyed it enough. The events in the world. So.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get 2,000 hugs on the way out.
I think, you know, Elliot's still struggling to get over the trauma of, you know, what his relationship with his father and that event. I mean, so I think, you know, the Shayla, that issue is going to haunt him for quite a while. I mean, I don't think it's settled in for him just what kind of effect that will have on him and the implications of that. And I mean, I think there's a bit of denial with him still that he might have caused that in a way, which he did. I mean, you know, her losses would not have happened had he not been in her life. So that's something I think he's really forcing, you know, as far away from him as possible. And one day down the line, it is going to fly fast in his face and probably break him, because Elliot has a tendency of being broken, sadly. But he always gets back up, doesn't he?
He does. I want to ask Grace, who obviously I assume you watched the first season of the show.
Yeah.
So having the perspective of someone who was probably a fan of the first season of the show and then coming on to the show, how do you see the world and how did you approach the world?
Wow. Well, I had to watch the whole season, obviously, for information because, you know, the consequences of everyone's actions in season 1 is now up to me. I'm the role of law enforcement. So I had to, I mean, I watched it because I loved it and heard great things, and Rami was a friend before, so I wanted to watch it. But yeah, I mean, you'll see how my character unfolds, both on its own and within the other storylines of everyone else.
Just sort of on the topic of being pushed to the limit of breaking, do you think Angela, do you see her at some point kind of breaking, or do you feel like, no, she's gonna solidify even more in this world? Like, how do you see her future?
It's a very good question.
That's a really good question.
Without spoilers, of course. Well, one person was
That's
very
hard.
put off with the way I put that.
I would say.
Are you hacking
there's-
our show, by the way?
No, shut up. No, I'm not hacking.
No, I don't know.
I think that there's something really dangerous to be said about her obsession with these affirmations. I think that what that is stemming from is something quite explosive. I think that you know, what I talked about with Sam, and I wanted to get more into what Angela struggles with internally, and she's a very troubling character. I mean, there's such a huge shift from first to second season, so in a way, she's unfortunately very malleable, which is also very exciting, because you don't really know what's going to happen with her. At one moment, you kind of think, oh, she's drank the Kool-Aid, and the next, you're like, oh, no, she's sticking up for herself, and she still has a very strong sense of who she is. And what I will say is that I asked Sam, I didn't know what was going to happen with her arc at the end of the season, and I asked him so many questions, so many, too many probably, he's so annoyed at this point. But what ends up happening, I think no one will be able to predict with her story arc.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's really, really fascinating.
Angela's actually a robot. She's actually a robot.
Yeah. Robot.
Team Instinct has a question.
Hey guys,
Hey.
I love the show.
Thank you.
Thankful, or I gotta thank my friend Nazar for getting me into it. My question is it's an asshole question. Feel free not to respond. Do you guys
Team
find it
Instinct.
ironic in any way that due to the business practices of some of their subsidiaries and the company itself, that the company that owns the network your show airs on is very similar to Evil Corp?
Well,
In many ways, you guys all work for Evil.
first of all, typical Team Instinct bullshit. Typical. This is why you can't let them in public, guys. This is why Valor and Mystic have to unite against
I
them.
don't hear an answer.
You know what, though? We all said the same thing in the beginning. We were like, and props to them for being able to say, we're still going to make this show, even though it pretty much talks about
Taking down a
them
huge
down.
corporation. Yeah,
But, you know, I think it shows that in those corporations, there are still, you know, we're kind of showing the worst side of it. But to have why USA and everyone is so amazing, to have the ability to take their ego away and be like, we're still going to make this. But someone asked Sam that question in the very beginning, and his response was, as long as they can make money.
We're
We're really lucky.
we're fortunate. We have. Do you want to do that?
You do it.
Well, no. I mean, this is a very polarizing show. We say some crazy shit about, you know, just the world in general, our situation. I mean, there's nothing we won't broach, and that takes a really gutsy group of people to get behind a show like that. You know, this is definitely, you know, not the juggernaut of, you know, a show that is probably raking in a ton of money. It could one day, and maybe, you know, maybe that's the goal. But behind us are people who really took a chance on a show that could be polarizing, and kind of, you know, gave us the free rein to really say something. And, you know, they're actually here. Jeff Wachtel at Universal Cable Productions, right? We got
Here he is.
We got Chris
Hey, Jeff.
McCumber from USA.
Jeff, this guy up
And,
here's got something he wants to say to you. Go ahead, Jeff's right over there. Tell him.
Well, it's more common.
We got some badasses on our side, and yeah, they gave you the show, they gave us the show, so we're
Price
very
would
proud.
never
Off to
have
him,
made the show
definitely.
happen.
Yeah, it's not an unfair question. It's a totally reasonable question.
Totally
But, you know,
valid.
they're making the show, and we're all here because of the show. So, you know, at a certain point, I guess we're okay with it. I'll see you. Bye. What is your name and what is your question?
My name is Darianne, and my question is, your characters all have distinct personalities and arcs throughout the first season till now, until what you know about the second season. If you were not the character that you play on the show, what other character would you portray?
Ooh.
Oh, that's good. That's a good question.
I mean, of course, you know, playing Elliot would be amazing.
Because she thinks she could do better.
I mean, you know, sorry. But actually, this season, I would have loved to play Ray, Craig Robinson's character this year.
Oh, Craig is amazing. Yeah, Craig Robinson is
I mean,
so
we're kind of
amazing.
interchangeable now,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's-
Yeah, you're looking like.
Totally. Yeah, it's perfect.
I would love to hear Grace's answer to this one.
Oh God. I think I would love to play Rami's character. I think he is allowed and has the freedom to be two different people. But I feel sort of,
Literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sort of connected to his character in a way. I think Dom also feels very powerless in the face of social injustice, and you'll see why, obviously. But yeah, I think everyone on this, every character is so complex and layered and complicated and messy, and I don't know. I think everyone.
Christian, who would you want to play?
Tyrell, why not? Yeah. That's a fun character, without a doubt. And Martin is so brilliant with it, but it's definitely a rich and full and very exciting character. That would be fun to sink my teeth into. I'd enjoy that, yeah. But I love Mr. Robot. I really do.
Portia, can you think of anyone else?
Another one?
That you'd want to be? No, I was at Portia. I was just wondering.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
It's just who else would you? Is there another character that you would want to play if they gave you the?
I honestly, I've thought about all of them. Like when I read some of the scripts, there's so many cool things that we all get to do, and I imagine myself in those situations and get a little bit jealous and think, oh man. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
We're happy with you.
question.
It's good. Yeah.
Good
Right?
answer. Rami, who would you?
Oh yeah.
I think I'd like to play Shayla so I could know what it's like to kiss me.
Interesting.
That's
Probably
what it would
suck.
be like.
Oh, we just have
I
time
do
for.
love your character. I mean, your character this year is pretty crazy. Amazing. Am I bleeding already?
You hurt yourself?
It was worth the joke.
Did you hit your mouth on the microphone?
Oh man.
Did you bunk your face on the microphone?
When you were kissing it? Yeah. Oh man.
Didn't we do that the other day? We like hit heads. Do you remember at work we both did that and like bonked heads? Yeah.
Ouch.
I think we have time for not that anyone asked, but I'd play Joanna Wellick. Just want a cool. I want a cool accent. And I want to get tied to a bed. Not hard enough. One time for one more question. What is your? Oh, I can't. It's just, I know it sucks. There are other panels, and we want to show everyone footage. I'm so sorry. If it's really fast, then I'll sneak you in, and they can just yell at me afterwards. Go ahead.
Hi. So your characters are really continually being fleshed out, and I was wondering what was your favorite part or trait to portray of each of your characters?
Oh, well, okay. Not that quick.
In this,
Yeah.
in
One
this
word
season or last season?
Whichever.
In less than 5 words.
Go.
Wow.
What's our
Best trait about our character? Is that what you asked?
Like to portray, yeah.
That you like to portray. Okay, great.
Go.
Go.
What's the favorite?
I'm going to say morphine withdrawal for me. That was pretty special.
Oh man. The love of a father to his son.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? You like that?
Carly?
I would say this season of being able to play that me, Portia, Grace get to play strong women on TV is really amazing.
Yeah.
And represent women in tech and the corporate world, and to be a good face for females and strength and all of those things is the coolest.
Portia?
I will just expand on that. It's really cool, you read so many things and it says like romantic interest, and then it describes your character.
Yeah.
And Angela's not Elliot's romantic interest, and it is really cool to play someone that, is a very strong female lead in the corporate world. Never thought that would happen. Yeah, I don't know, to be somewhat of a corporate badass is pretty awesome.
Grace?
Yeah, I remember Sam said to me when I first got the part, what's cool about Dom is that she has her own independent storyline that's not based around anyone else. And I love that. I love how she just sort of floats in. But I don't know, I think the seemingly flighty, very earnest and friendly side of her is what I love to play.
All right, so real fast, because I promised, but we only have like 5 minutes, so go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, lots of Easter eggs and nods and homages to other films in the show, whether it's Fight Club or something else. Do you have a favorite Easter egg from the last 2 seasons?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad I
Does
did
everyone
it.
know what an Easter egg is? Okay, because someone who I work with thought we were literally talking about Easter eggs. Just want to make sure.
Is there an Easter egg that you can say from the first season, or just an Easter egg, some sort of hidden thing?
Well, we just found, where were we that we found this out? The 5/9, you know, the hack that goes through, it's actually Mr. Robot's, the same date that he died on the tombstone.
Oh, very satisfying.
Very nice, yeah. Good detail.
That's a good one.
So before we show you the clip, I don't know, did you guys go over to Petco Park to do the VR experience? You should. The Mr. Robot shop is up there for all of Comic-Con. And then there's actually a book, a Mr. Robot book is coming out in November.
I wrote it.
Pre-order. Carly wrote it, all of it, just now. And then there's an Evil Corp messaging app game that's going to be coming out soon too. So a lot of stuff to look for. Mr. Robot is now a part of our culture, and I think one of the reasons why it resonates so well is because of this thing that you guys talked about of the characters all being kind of gray. But I think in general, we are as human beings overwhelmed by the world around us, and I think we all feel those pieces of I have no control, I don't know who I am sometimes, and some days I don't know if I can leave my house.
Oh boy.
Right.
And so it is very comforting to watch this show and relate in a way that no other show really communicates.
Do I take off a mask when it stops being a mask? When it's as much a part of me as I am? All I remember is I woke up 3 days later.
And what happened in those 3 days?